My name is Abhishek Jain and the topic I choose for today's video is how can we install a Grafana on any Linux like environment, but from the demo perspective I just choose a Ubuntu. And a different flavor of a Linux, there is a little bit changes in terms of how we can install it, and that information you can always find on official site of a Grafana, and that I would be mentioning in the comment section. So let's first find out the theoretical concept behind the Grafana. So what exactly the Grafana is? Grafana is a platform, and I would say it's a web-based server client architecture which actually help us to analyze the data points which is stored in a time series manner, and we can just monitor a lot of the resources which we have on a machine, and along with that we can just monitor the application or the services, whatever component you can think of, we can easily monitor that with the help of Grafana. Right. So by default, Grafana actually stores all the data points into the SQLite 3, which is actually embedded inside the executable of a Grafana that we're gonna see in an installation part. Apart from that, if you really want to configure any other DB, so Grafana, in a Grafana to store a data, then you can configure that for a MySQL or the Postgres as well. So there are few more the theoretical concept which I just captured here, like in terms of it's very powerful in terms of visualizing a data in a various format which are very user friendly and which looks very beautiful, right? And from the source perspective, like what all things Grafana can support in terms of getting a data and just showing on a screen is InfluxDB, Prometheus, Elasticsearch, CloudWatch, and we're gonna see that once we install that. When we just make the Grafana up, we can figure it out. We can figure it out by ourselves what all sources Grafana is supporting with the latest one. The another good part about Grafana is you can just create a dashboard with multiple graphs, and you can just share the same thing among the groups or the team members which are spread it across the globe. It's very easy to share the various dashboard at any given point in time. So let's quickly jump into the demo part and see how can we do that. So I have already spin up one machine where the Ubuntu is installed. So let's quickly check which version of, okay, it's 18.4 Bionic. So the very first thing which I always recommend is first we need to add the GPG key, which actually help us to ensure that whatever the package we gonna download, it is coming from the trusted party or the maintainer or the developer of that particular package. So I'm just gonna run this, failed writing a body. So let me just take the sudo. Okay, so just make sure that you are logged in with the sudo access, right? And then the next step, as always, it is going to be adding a repository, right? So we just gonna run this command to add the repository. This is app add repository. So once that's done, then you have to just use the apt install Grafana. Just put yes. Okay. So now the next thing which I wanted to show you is when we install a Grafanas, right, there are few directories where the things get installed or they get copied over to, right? So for example, the binary, the Grafana server, it gets copied into the user S1, and we can just quickly go there and can check that, right? So you can see there are Grafana server and a Grafana CLI, right? It's a command line, right? Then you can see there are some default configuration of the file which you can find inside the etc, that you can just take it out from there. From this particular PPT you can just go and check all those stuff, right? And by default is just install the service as well, so there is no need for you to set up a service or the init. You are not supposed to do that in init.d because the Grafana installation itself is doing for you. Now you can run this Grafana server as a service as well, right? From the logging perspective, you can see that if you will just go inside the var directory, then there is a log related to the Grafana. We can quickly check that as well. So there is nothing, and we're gonna see once we run that service that Grafana log will be there. The interesting part is related to the data, where actually the Grafana stores the data, right? So it is in a varlib as usual. There almost all the application by default store data related to the application in a varlib. ls-ltr. If I'll just put Grafana folder, you can see. Okay, there is nothing, right? So now it seems like all the folders, required folder has been set up, all the log directory has been set up. It's just that I have to run the service, right? So there are two ways, and I always prefer to run with systemctl, because systemctl is something which has a more powerful or more options as compared to the service. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do the systemctl daemon reload, and then and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna run the systemctl again to start Grafana server. And if I just put the status and see whether it is up or not, yep. So it seems to be running fine. And now if we can just go to the different instance of the same machine, if I just go to the log location is the Grafana log. Earlier there was nothing, and now we can quickly check the Grafana.log. Permission didn't. So ls-ltr it is. So since we are not having a sudo access, so I can just take the sudo su, and then we can just check what is getting logged here, right? So it's really important for the administrator to see what kind of things, right? The another thing is similar to this, we can just go to the varlib, then Grafana ls-ltr. We can see that grafana.db is being created. Earlier that was not there. PNGs there, plugins are there, right? So that is how you can just install a Grafana as a service on this particular machine, right? The another thing which I wanted to explain you, I have already opened one of the port, where we can easily log into this Grafana, the customer side, basically the client of this Grafana. For that is what you will get, right? I just opened that port. This is a machine which is running on the AWS, so by default admin is the credential. You can just log in, and it will ask to change the parameter. It will ask you to just change the password. You can give any password which you can easily remember. So here if you will just go, I mean, it's just their add data source. If I'll just put, you can see these are the data sources which you can create, you can configure inside the Grafana. There is already a video where I just explain InfluxDB, Prometheus, which you can easily integrate with the Grafana, and you can just start utilizing that to create the various graphs, and you can start monitoring the application. So that's it from my side for this particular video. Thanks for watching this. If you have any feedback, any comment, please feel free to put that in a comment section, and as always, keep learning and stay healthy. Thank you very much.